When you hear the phrase midlife crisis, what do you think of? The red sports car, the dramatic haircut, or maybe that impulsive decision that everybody's whispering about? But what if what you're feeling right now doesn't feel like a crisis? It feels more like a collapse, or maybe a fire, or something unraveling inside yourself. Hi, I'm Ann Johnson. Y'all ready to chat? Today we're going to talk about why this season feels so intense, and I'm going to give you some science to back up what I say. It's not in your head. If midlife feels a little harder than you thought it would, it's not your imagination. Research shows that women in their 40s and 50s experience more loneliness, worsening health trends, and distressing mental illness. And unlike some European countries where midlife is improving, in the United States, it's declining. And that's sobering. I mean, we're the sandwich generation, being not only teenagers, but working full-time and sometimes taking care of aged parents. So if this season seems less like peaceful awakening and more like systematic exhaustion, there's a reason. There's also something you can do about it. Let's be honest. Sometimes the breakdown comes before the breakthrough. It's the restlessness, the questioning, the, is this all there is? Feeling. I mean, you may not be blowing up your life, but inside you feel kind of disoriented. And this disorientation starts the cracks in the building you've been living in for decades. Cracks let in light, but first, they usually shake everything up. During our life, we wear many costumes. I mean, we're the good employee, the dependable wife, the perfect mother, the fixer, the achiever, the one who holds it all together. Which costume have you had, or costumes? Those costumes worked at the time. They got us through decades. They helped us survive. But then one day you wake up and you think to yourself, who am I without this costume? And that's terrifying because once the costume loosens, it's hard to know what to feel. But you know what's actually happening? You're shedding. You're creating a clearing. Before we go into the clearing, I'd like to ask you to tap that subscribe button. We're trying to build a community, and I'd love for you to join. Thank you. Sometimes shedding that or identity is triggered by an important event. It could be a loss, a divorce, kids moving out of the house, or retirement, or sometimes something quieter. Just a slow realization that the roles that defined you no longer fit. And the identity shifts. It doesn't feel empowering at first. Sometimes it feels like a loss. I remember my friend telling me after a 20-year marriage ended in divorce that she had never lived alone before and was at loss what to do about it. I had a high school chum that built her life around achievement until she became very ill and had to retire. She didn't know who she was anymore. But you know what it did do? It forced her to recognize parts of herself she had never identified before. She had ignored them, and that's rest, contentment, connection, and that's the clearing. It strips away who you've been, not gently, but necessarily. It leaves you grieving. Nobody tells you that midlife is a funeral. You're mourning the youthful you, the one who had boundless energy, a metabolism that cooperated, and the endless dreams for the future that awaited you. But this grief is not self-pity. It's integration. That's maturity. Midlife grief is about letting go of an entire chapter of identity, and that takes courage. Earlier, I mentioned a fire. Midlife feels like a fire, a controlled burn. In nature, it burns away the old growth and allows for a healthier growth. Midlife can feel chaotic because the old structures are dissolving, and that creates space, and with that comes choice. You end up with a relief of simplification. After the identity shift, after the grief comes relief. You start adding instead of adding. Fewer goals, but deeper purpose. Fewer friends, but honest ones. You stop saying yes automatically. You stop tolerating what drains you, and you start protecting the peace that is safe. Simplification isn't laziness, it's wisdom. I truly believe midlife is a second adulthood. The first adulthood was reactive. You responded to what life threw at you. This one is reflective. You respond to what aligns with you. The difference is profound. And you no longer need to compete. You become rooted. And that rootedness becomes something that youth cannot compete with. If you're in the middle of this season, ask yourself, what roles am I clinging to that no longer work for me? What chaos might actually be clearing space? And what am I tolerating that does not give me peace? If I weren't afraid of judgment, who would I become? Write your answers down and let the clearing speak. Story of the midlife crisis or midlife challenge is not complete. Yes, the pain is real. Yes, the stress is documented, but this is not a collapse. It's an unraveling. It's a shedding, a fire that makes room. You're not breaking down. You're breaking out. You're standing in a clearing, and you can finally say, this is who I am without a costume. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for the chat.